Then welcome to you guys. Thank you for being here. What we teach on this channel, what we show you guys on this channel is probably different than anything you've ever seen in the market before. So this really is, I found over my years of trading, the easiest way, the easiest strategy to trade. And we're going to teach you a little bit about that today. More so in this channel with the learning tools is where you'll really learn how to do this stuff. But what we show here, this is our watch list. So I put out these watch lists for free for you guys every single day. And I've started to do them live. So I think that helps a little bit. If you guys have questions, you can ask them in the chat section off to the right-hand side. And you can feel free to ask them there. Or if you're watching this as a recording, you can ask them down below. Or if you're on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can ask me there, or you can join me in the Discord. That link is in the description below, and you can ask me the questions in the Discord. The thing I want to say here before we get started, this screen that you see here, guys, this is TradingView. So if you don't have a platform like this and you're new to trading, you're probably going to need something like this or similar to this. If you'd like to try out TradingView for free, there is a link in my description. You can click on that link. You get a free 30-day trial to TradingView, to their subscription-based services. And then if you decide to use it, use TradingView, and you click on that link, you'll get up to $30 off of that subscription. So go ahead, take me up on that offer. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. If you have used TradingView before, unfortunately, it won't work for you. But let's get started on this list. I've got a few places to go through, guys. And again, if you have questions, feel free to ask them in that live chat section if you guys are live with me right now. So the first one that we have got on the list is SPY. So I haven't had SPY on a list for a very long time. And what I've done today is I've gone ahead and marked out the setups that are presented, but I don't necessarily have all the triggers and targets set, so we can go through those together. So on SPY, we have a 2 down that finished green. SPY was a super small candle for most of the day. And then probably 2 hours before trading ended, it went on that little bit of a run there. So we have this 2 down, and the 2 candles, you can see them in the bottom here. There's 2 candles, there's 1 candle, and there's 3 candles. I have a video that talks exactly about what those candles are. So if you don't know, make sure you're going to check that video out, because that is really the start of the strat, the candlesticks, the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s. So a 2 candle is a directional candle. It only breaks one side or the other of the previous candle. So in this case, we only broke the low of this candle, the previous candle. But instead of finishing red, we finish green. So when we do that, it gives me a higher probability that we are going to see SPY head back to the upside. Now, does it always mean it happens? No, it doesn't. But it tells me that the probability is there. The other thing it tells me that there's high probability is time frame continuity. It's a very key cog in what we teach with the strat. So again, I have a video specific to time frame continuity and what it is, but you can see here what this is telling us essentially is on the hourly, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly, and the yearly. All of those outside of the month, we have buyers. Okay? So we are green everywhere on SPY except for the monthly. So that's the majority. So when we have that, again, there's a higher probability that we will trend in the up direction. So you can take common shares here. You can take calls. If you're looking at calls, it's 389.49 is your trigger price. Okay, not your strike price, it's your trigger price. Your first target is 193.64.45. Let me see what we're at here. $393.45 is your first target. So now, like I said, your trigger price is $389.49. When I take a trade like this, my trigger price, yes, it's $389.49. My strike price in the calls would be a $390. A 391, maybe a 392. I might go 3 strikes off of my trigger. Okay? That's the way I trade every single day. I don't do it any different. I don't get a strike way higher than that. I don't get a strike less than that. I think it's a really nice happy medium. And again, I don't look at the Greeks. If you're going to ask me about the Greeks, I don't look at them because I'm jumping into this trade not to stay into this trade all day. I take 0 DTEs. You don't have to. I do. I jump into this trade. If it breaks, I hop down to the 5 minute. I could be in this trade for 5 minutes to an hour. Okay? I don't look at those Greeks. I don't have time. If this thing triggers, I want to get in and I want to get out. I want to make my 20, 30, 40% and I'm out. I let the candle stop me out, but I don't want to be sitting in this thing watching it all day long, having to continuously move my stops all day long. So an hour realistically is the most that I stay in a trade. I mean, if the candlesticks keep me in longer, I'll stay in longer, but typically I'm anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour and that's it. And so based on that, I realistically only need this hourly and this daily candle in order for me to have the correct time frame continuity. Okay, I don't need anything other than that. If I have more, if I have the week, the quarterly, and the yearly, that's what I call a bonus. So it basically is what we just talked about. It's a higher probability that this trade works out. So that's how I'd play it. You don't have to take the 0 DTEs. You could take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 days out. It doesn't matter to me. I'm comfortable with those 0 DTEs, okay? If you're not, again, that's fine. We'll move on here. We'll go to Neo. So Neo has this 2 down that finished green. So we're going to move our trigger to the top of that candle, and our targets just go to the tops. I'm going to delete this one. To the tops of the preceding wicks, okay? So right here, and I do see it looks like we have a small gap there. So we do. So that actually becomes my first target. When we have a gap in between the candles, meaning there's no candlestick in between the previous candle and the current one, that's a gap. That first target becomes that gap fill, okay? And whether you're going to the upside or downside, that's true. And even if you were looking at a smaller time frame on the 15 or the 30, it would still be true. Okay, we'll move on to BAC. That's Bank of America. It also has a 2 down that finished green. So we can look for calls back to the upside on this one at 28.56. DraftKings, 2 down green. Let's mark this one out. We put our triggers at 18.01, the top of the candle, and the target goes to the top of the preceding wick. And that's it. We're done. Okay, we go on to the next one. Lucid. And guys, this is how I set up my trades, my charts for you guys every single day. I go through my list of 100 tickers or so, and I find what I have, and I mark them out. And it doesn't take long. It takes 15 or 20 minutes. It takes a little longer now because I'm discussing them. But here's one for Lucid. We've got a 2 down at finished green. There's my probability back to the upside. We do have mixed time frame continuity here. But if this trends up, we can look for those calls at 7.53. First target at 8. What are we at there? 8.03 on Lucid. Okay, we'll move on to Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs, this is what we call a hammer candle. Okay, so a hammer candle has this body, and it has this long wick to the downside. This wick should be at least 2 times the size of this body. And that's what we have here. So it's a hammer candle. It's an actionable signal. So there are 3 actionable signals in this strategy, meaning there's 3 high probability candles in this strategy. There's the hammer that we're showing here. There's a shooter, which was the opposite of this. This body would be down at the bottom here instead. Or there's an inside bar. Okay, we'll talk about inside bars in a bit, but the inside bars don't break the high or the low of the previous candle. So again, we have this gap right here. So that's our fill number 1. Okay, our target number 1. Our target number 2, we still have a gap. Okay, so that becomes target 2, and then target 3, we go back to the top of the candles. PayPal, there's another one, 2 down green, but this one, guys, this one has full time frame continuity to the upside. A strong play on PayPal. We'll see if it trends that way tomorrow. I don't know, but we'll find out. So PayPal, we can look for calls at 73.94, first targets at 74.67. Macy's, exact same, guys, outside of the time frame continuity, but we've got 2 down green. We'll look for calls at 18.86 and first targets at $19.23. Plug Power, there's another shooter candle. Okay, this gap here, I'm not going to put the first target there. That's a pretty tight gap, or a pretty tight target. So we're going to move the target up to there. Do we get up to that top spot? Probably not. It's possible, but we probably don't get there based on the candle sizes of Plug. but you never know. So we can look for calls here at 1185. Now, yes, time frame continuity is pointing all to the downside. But if it trends up, we'll have this daily and this hourly in our favor. And the thing I want to tell you guys, like, we're setting these up, and these are probabilities. Okay, so we don't know what this next candle is going to be. Based on what this candle is showing and what it's telling us, we have probability for it to trend back up. Less probability based on this right here. So it might have a 2-2 continuation, okay? It very well might have that. And that, again, it's still probability based. It's probable that it could go down, but nobody knows what this next candle is going to be. So every strategy that we look at, every strategy that you guys look at, every trade that you guys look at is always based off of probability. Whether it's you're looking at EMA crossings, or you're looking at this, or you're looking at something completely different, it's all based off what could possibly happen, okay? And if it doesn't happen, then that's where your risk management comes in, and how good are you at that? That will determine how good of a trader you are. We'll move on to Uber. Uber, there's another 2 down green, and there are a lot of these because a lot of stuff gapped down this morning. Okay, we had a ton of gap down, so we have, and finish green. So we have a lot of these 2 downs that finish green today. We're going to look for those calls back to the upside. 32.24 is your trigger on Uber. Apple, this is a great setup here. Okay, we've got full time frame continuity. If these were not, these yellows represent current inside bars on the week and the month. So we go to the week, we are still inside bar. We go to the month, we are still inside bar. That's that yellow marker. That's part of my indicator. So this, the yellow bars, the white outside bars, the candlestick numbers, Sarah Strat Sniper's 50% rule, the highlights on the 3-1 setups and the double inside bar setups, that's all part of the indicator I created for you. It's $25. The link is in the description below, or you get it part as a member of the membership, and the membership is $50 a month, and it includes stuff like the indicator, one-on-ones with myself. I've had 2 1-hour sessions. Now, I will spend as much time as you guys need one-on-one. There is no limit to that. So I had 2 calls yesterday. They each went about an hour. Okay? So feel free to join that. You get the top 5 from this list every day. There's live trading bots in that room. There's a 1-hour strat course. It's filled with a lot of good stuff for you guys. Okay, so Apple, 2 down, finish green. Let's get our target marked out to the top side. There's target 1. And let's get that second target marked out at the top side. Target 2. Okay, full time frame continuity. I'm going to look for Apple to go to the upside tomorrow. AFRM, 2 down green, really close to a hammer candle. So you can look at it either way. We'll look for calls here at 991. First target at 1092. BIDU, there's that hammer candle. If we trend up, we've got the majority of the time frame outside of the month, all to the upside, calls at 133.70. We move on to Chewy. So this is what you call, well, this is a hammer candle, but when there's a 1 preceding it, it's called a 122 Rev Strat. So realistically, it's still a 2-2 reversal that we're looking for off of this hammer candle, which is a bullish pattern. And we've got a little bit of time frame continuity with us, so we can look for those calls at 38, where are we? 38.21, and really good magnitude to the top side at 40.49 for the first target. Cisco has a 2 down that finished green as well, and you can see we've got full time frame continuity. So another really good setup on Cisco for tomorrow, for Thursday. CVS, okay. I wanted to make sure this one was on here because CVS has been in a downtrend. We zoom out and look at CVS, and I talk about this on every video. I've been talking about CVS for like 2 months, and it's just been on a continuous downtrend. Okay, so we have a 2 down that finished green. This might signal a reversal to the upside. I wouldn't be overly confident in that, just based on what the year has shown us. The week, the month, the quarterly, and the yearly are all red, so I would be cautious of this one. Not saying you can't play it. I would be cautious of it, though. Datadog. Okay, here's those inside bars I was talking about earlier. Actionable signal. Painted yellow. They're easy to see. If you're new or struggling, I love the inside bars, okay? I want you guys to follow these if you're new or struggling. So, this one doesn't have the greatest targets. I'm actually going to move that target down because it's identical. We'll move this target down, top of the wicks, and then we're going to put in the second trigger to the bottom side. So when you guys see these inside bars, these yellow bars, I want you guys to think of a spring being compacted, squished, and loaded. And when that thing releases, you're expecting an explosion to one side or the upside or downside. And that's exactly what we get here. Okay, it gapped up, but we have these big runs. There's one, and I see another candle way up there, two. That's what we look for off those inside bars. They don't always work. This one ran into an outside bar. They don't always work, okay? But probability tells us that off of these inside bars, we get these fantastic runs. And that's what we're looking for. This is the kind of setups right here. This is a prime example right here. This is what we look for, okay? They're probability based, okay? High probability, but if it doesn't work, then you need to get out of it. DIA has a 2-down green. Let's mark the triggers out for you guys. 2-down green, we're going to look for calls at 319.81. We'll mark that first target to the upside with you guys on the diamonds. Change that color to green. And we have the play on DIA. I don't know if it's Stefan or Steven, but will you show what you played today? I didn't hear the first few minutes of the stream. I didn't take any trades today. I had calls this morning, and then I was at the gym. SPY was super choppy this morning. So after I dropped my kids off, I came back. That's usually my trading time, about an hour and a half into the day. And I look at stuff for about an hour or two. And if it's chopping around, I'm not interested in entering. And that's exactly what SPY had. Plus, SPY opened up 1.5%. I think to the downside today? 1.5% to the downside. And I've talked about it in the Discord today. I talked about it yesterday. That usually is the maximum point for SPY. Usually SPY does not run more than 1.5% in a day to either side. Okay? It's 1.5% or less. Yesterday it ran up all the way to 2% and then came back down. But if I'm already at that 1.5% and I can't trade with time frame continuity, then I'm not trading it. Does that make sense, Steven? So there's the setup on DIA. Let's move on to Disney. Disney has a 2-down green. Okay, so we can look for the calls on this one. Good time frame continuity. Triggers at 93.36. From Disney, let's hop over to, yeah, you're very welcome. From Disney, we'll hop over to eBay. 2-down green, not quite a hammer candle, but we're going to look for those calls. And first target's marked out. So calls at 40.94, first target at 41.95. Okay, I'm very simplistic in my approach when I trade. If my setup's not there, then I'm not FOMOing into a trade. I'm not trying to make a trade happen. If it's not there, it's not there. Okay? My basic rules and my bread and butter, and I've talked about this a lot recently, I really love SPY. I love 0 DTEs. I love taking my strikes, 1 to 3 strikes off of that trigger price. I love playing it off the 15. I love managing it on the 5. I found a really good sweet spot. And if I don't have reversals into time frame continuity with at least the hourly and the daily, I'm not interested in taking that trade. So I don't ever want you guys to feel like you have to FOMO a trade and YOLOing and just jumping in because you feel like you have to trade. If you feel like you're missing something if you're not trading, that I would liken that to gambling. Okay, and this is not what we should. We're not gambling here. We're running a business, and that's what it is. And it can be a hobby, it can be a side hustle, it can be a business, and it's different for everybody. But I wouldn't use it as a gambling tool. What I mean by playing the 15 and managing on the 5, well, it's very similar to what we're doing here. So anytime that I'm setting up a trade, and go look at any of my recent short videos. What is that? The Real Ricket. Go look at my recent short videos. It shows you exactly what I do. I set my triggers and targets on a higher time frame. So whether it's the daily, I really like the 15. So just like we're doing here, I set my triggers and my targets on the 15 because that's where I like to sit with SPY. Okay? And then I hop down to the 5, and I wait for that to trigger off of the 5. That's how I manage my trades. That's where I get out of my trades. When the candle reverses, when I go through reverse through the targets, that's where I get out of my trade. It's risk management. Managing is risk management. So go check out those videos. You'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. Etsy with the 2 down green, triggers and targets marked for you guys. We move on to Ford. Ford, exactly the same thing. And I said there's a ton of these 2 down green setups. And this one, again, has that gap. So we need that gap fill. That becomes our first target. Next target goes to the top. And then your next target would go to the next top. And then your next target would go to the next top. Okay? That's a setup on Ford. We'll move on to GE. It's General Electric. So General Electric, we have the gap again. We have the hammer candle, the bullish pattern. And we have full time frame continuity. Outside of this week that has a current inside bar, so we can go look at that weekly, see where we're at. And we have this doji candle. Doesn't know which way it wants to go, okay? Buyers, the buyers had it, got sold off. The sellers had it, got bought back up. Okay, so we don't know where that's going on the current week. We're likely to end up to stay on the inside bar, given that it's Thursday tomorrow. That is the probability, the likelihood. But right now, off of this daily, we can take this with this hammer candle and full time frame continuity and see if we can run GE back to the top. IBM, exact same, okay? 2 down green, hammer candle. We don't have that full time frame continuity, but we do have that hammer candle, and we can take this target and we put it just to the top of the wick of the previous candle. And that's a good run there. That's a $3.30 run, 29-cent run. It's a good spot to be. Moderna, there's a 2 down green on Moderna. So there is our target, or our trigger. There is our target. We've got fairly good time frame continuity on this if we trend to the upside. Now, it might trend down. It may not, but probabilities are telling me that we are likely to head back up. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and we're no worse for wear. MU, there's that 2 down green again. Multiple 2 down greens on almost every chart that we've got on this list. Okay, so MU, 2 down green. We've got good time frame continuity. Calls at 54.27. Nike, another 2 down green. There's our trigger. There's our target. And I show this stuff to you guys, and you guys might not play every one of these, but it's good for you guys to watch this stuff, to learn this stuff, so that the next time, or the next time, or the next time, whenever it is, you guys can go do this and mark out your charts and say, yep, that's what I would have done. No, I wouldn't have done that. This one looks good, and compare it. And you guys can, eventually you'll be doing this on your own. I don't want you guys to have to follow me forever. Okay, that's not my goal here. My goal is not to have, I appreciate if you do, and that's great, but the goal here is for you guys to be able to do this on your own, to mark up your own charts, to find your own trades, to be confident in doing that. And hopefully that what I'm doing here is helping you guys do that, because that's my goal. My goal is to help as many of you out there as I can to do exactly what I'm doing right now, and marking these charts up and finding the best possible plays for myself going into the next day. Okay? Nike to QCOM. So QCOM, there's that 2 down green. That's, you probably call that a hammer candle. I'd like to see less of a wick up top here, but we'll call it a hammer. And we have that set up, triggers at 116.18. Starbucks. Starbucks has the 2 down green. Let's mark triggers out here. That's a target, so we'll put the target up there. And now we mark the trigger. Not quite a hammer candle. It is really close. Not quite. There's our trigger. Okay, 99.37. First target at 138. I swung Starbucks on Thursday of last week, so we are Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday right here on the monthly. And I'm a wuss, and I can't hold stuff long enough. So I sold at this gap. When we got into this range, that was a 70% trade for me from Thursday, late Thursday, Friday, and then into here. And I probably would have been up a lot more at this point, but I'll take 70% all day long. I'm going to ask you guys now to, if you guys do have questions, make sure you're filing them into the chat there, because I do have a little bit of time once we're done here to go through some questions, to go through some charts, to go through some plays today if you want, okay? So Shopify, really nice time frame continuity. We can put our trigger there, and we set our target at the top of the preceding wick. I don't know what the premiums are on Shopify. I don't know what the spreads are between the bid and the ask. I like tighter spreads, but this to me is setting up for a really, really nice trade, or a potential for a really, really nice trade. Okay, so what I look for when I was talking about, I look for those reversals into time frame continuity. If this was on a smaller time frame, say the 15, we have this little pullback, and now I'm looking for this next candle to go up with time frame continuity. Now again, for me, I only need that hourly and the daily because I'm not in a trade usually more than an hour, but I have a lot of time frame here, full time frame on this indicator, and that's a high probability trade for me. That is something that I would take because it would be a reversal back into time frame continuity. Okay, so triggers at 43.56, first targets at 44.21. Wells Fargo. Let's move these triggers down. Trigger 1. Trigger 2, remember, goes to the bottom of the candle because of the gap. Okay? And then our next target would just go to the top of the candle. I think that's the list, guys. So if you do have questions, now would be the time to ask them. Yeah, so here's SPY, opened up and ran up. I said in the Discord early morning, I said I would be very cautious of trading SPY. I did go over IWM. I'm almost positive, Marlon. I might not have. I'll check, okay? Just give me a second. We opened here, and it was in this range right here. It was at 1.5%, and I told everybody, SPY doesn't usually go to 2%. I would be very cautious on taking plays to the upside. Well, it ran another 0.5% up to here, and then it ended up coming all the way back down, and then closing here. So we had the opposite happen today. Here we closed here and we opened all the way down here, 1.5% less, negative 1.5%. And I said again, I would be very cautious of SPY running more than that because it usually does not run more than 1.5% in a day. So it did come down, and then we ended up trending all the way back up. We had a nice run into the end of the day. So if we went and looked at that 15-minute chart, it doesn't matter. You can look at this on any chart, but we had this nice little run up here to close the day out. Does anybody have anything while we're here? Oh, IWM. Let's go check out IWM. See, this is why I tell you guys to study. I missed it. That's fine. I gave you guys 30 other setups. So IWM, Marlon B found IWM. Does anybody else have any issues with my mic? IWM, there's that 2 down green, okay? So we also have that gap fill there. So that becomes your first target, and then your second target. Oh my gosh. Plug it. Is that any better? Has it been choppy the whole time? Or just recently? Hopefully that's better for you guys. Does that work? Oh, okay. It's better now? Anyways, that's a play on IWM. Nope. Alright, well, I'll maybe cut it short here, guys. I apologize about the audio. If there's nothing else, I am going to check out. If you guys do have other questions, just leave them in the comment section, okay? Or get a hold of me on Twitter or join the Discord. The Discord's free to join, okay? There's a bunch of rooms. I always jump in. Well, I don't always jump in. I jump in live usually around 12 Eastern to talk to you guys, usually. So join the Discord, get in there, learn and earn together. That's what I say. And yeah, good luck trading Thursday, guys. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye.